कॉल ज्वाइन करना है। इज इट ओके हम लोग बाद में चर्चा कंटिन्यू करें इसके ऊपर? We will do one verse today. ओम अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपा कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरुं श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवंश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान सहगण ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधु जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांता राधा कांता नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। मुखं करोति वाचालं पंगुं लंघयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमहं वन्दे श्रीगुरुं दीनतारिणं परमानन्दमाधवं श्रीचैतन्य ईश्वरम्। My voice is audible, clear, devotees?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Yes, your voice is audible.
So verse number 9. Andam tamaha pravishanti ye vidyam upasate tato bhuya ivate tamo yau vidyanam rataha. Those who engage in the culture of nascent activities shall enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. So there is this mantra offers a comparative study of Vidya and Avidya, means those who are engaged in ignorant activities, or those who are ignorant basically culture, and they are acting because they don't know what is right, what is wrong, doing something wrong in ignorance, they are living in ignorance, they will enter into the darkest region of ignorance. Worse still are those engaged in the culture of so-called knowledge. So there is a concept of Vidya, means knowledge. There is a concept of so-called Vidya, means they think they are in knowledge. And then there is a concept of Avidya, means those who are not in knowledge. Those who are in knowledge, they will go up. If they are perfected, they will go back to spiritual world. If they are not perfected, they will be taking birth in a devotee family. Those who are acting in knowledge, like Krishna consciousness, so they will keep progressing either to perfection or to the next. Begin their Krishna consciousness from where they left off. This is those in knowledge, acting in knowledge. Now, those who are acting in ignorance, they will remain in this material existence. This material existence is darkest region of ignorance, means they will be taking, they will continue the cycle of birth and death, either go to heaven or go to hell based on their karma. Those, I mean, some people are pious now, worship of demigods, but they are also not acting in knowledge. They are acting in ignorance in a way. They don't know what the reality is, or they are acting for sense gratification. Then there are those who are so-called knowledge. Those who are ignorant, they will stay in this material existence only, cannot escape. Those who are misguiding others, or those who are in so-called knowledge, we will discuss this concept. They will go to hell. Their destination is worse. So worse still are those engaged in the culture of knowledge. If you're curious, then example is those who promote I am God, you are God, everybody is God, like Mayavadis. So they go to hell. So they say they are in knowledge, but this is like so-called vidya, so-called knowledge. They think they are in knowledge. So they themselves are going down, and anybody who is propagating, anybody who is listening to them, they are negatively impacting them also. So in that way, they are doing much more damage. Those who pose to be learned and whose knowledge is against Shastras. So they are the most dangerous people. They have the worst destination. Those who are acting because they don't know what is wrong, what is right. So they are in the middle. So they remain in a material existence. And those who act in knowledge, they will go up. Okay, clear? Destination of those in Vidya, destination of those in Avidya, and destination of those who are in so-called Vidya. Any discussion on this?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, is so-called knowledge worse than uh, like not having knowledge to begin with?
Yes. So-called knowledge is worse because they are misguiding also others. And they are opposing Shastra in a way, like we gave an example of, you are God, I am God. And they are practicing, they read scriptures, they preach, and then they say that I am God. So this is like they are posing themselves as knowledgeable, but they will, like Ramapad Maharaj says, it is also mentioned, they go to hell. But those who are just sense gratification, say mode of passion, they will take birth in Earth planet. So they still remain in the Earth planet. All the planets in this material existence is darkest region of the whole material world, is darkest region of ignorance. So those who are acting in avidya, ignorance, they will remain in the material existence. But worse are those who pose themselves as knowledgeable and whose conclusions are against the scriptures. Answers?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Uh,
Understood, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Any other question on this? Okay. So now we go into the detail. So there is actual Vidya, there is Avidya, and there is so-called Vidya. Actual Vidya is Isa Vasyam Idam Sarvam, means like the first verse of Isopanishad, which says everything is owned and controlled by the Supreme. Everything is, all these are, everything is owned by Him. The whole universe has come from His pose. It is His property. And everyone is acting under either Yoga Maya or Mahamaya, which is basically three modes of material nature. Everything is under the control of the Lord. Everything has to be sanctioned by Paramatma. He is the owner. Yeah, everything is acting under his energy. So this is actual Vidya. Those who understand and those who live by that principle become God conscious, see God in everything, and they know that they are living in God's property and they want to use everything in His service, knowing that we also belong to God and we have a loving relationship, and He is the supremely loving Father. Everything is given to me by my supremely loving Father, and I must use everything in His service. So, this is actual Vidya. Then, avidya is forgetfulness of this fact, is ignorance. The more a man forgets this fact of life, the more he is in darkness. And just like um, enjoy life. So this like avidya. They don't know what mm, they don't pose themselves as great learned people, but they are just engaged in sense gratification. It is said like karmis. They're doing their karma. They're attached to the result of their work. Enjoy the result. So this is like avidya. Then so-called vidya is Darwin. So this is like so-called Vidya. It's like no God in control. You came from monkeys. So in a way, or like Big Bang, everything never came from God. All came from a Big Bang. Advaitavad. Advaitavad is you are God, I am God. Then false guru like Charvak Muni. He was a Muni and he said the goal of life is enjoy till you die. Just enjoy sense get. So he's like a Muni and he's preaching. He's like false gurus. Many YouTube fames who are like there are many. Who is God? Who cares who is God? So this is like they pose themselves as people are going to them for knowledge, for guidance, and their guidance is against Shastra. So this is like so-called Vidya. Then Lord Krishna speaks in Bhagavad Gita about so-called Vidyas, Maya Paharita Jnana. Means they pose themselves to be Jnani, but their Jnana is taken by Maya. Srila Prabhupada says, this class of men are self-made gods. I am God. Such men think that they themselves are God and that there is no need of worshipping any other god, and they see anybody they say, you know, you are Narayan, you are Narayan, everyone is Narayan, so they pay obeisances. Paying obeisances is good, but this is so called Vidya. They think they are doing the right thing, but then the whole conception is wrong. Such men say that God is all powerful. They say God is all powerful. Then Prabhupada says, such men, unable to recognize their own foolishness, never consider how it is that God can be entered by Maya, his own illusory energy. If God were ever tried by Maya, Maya would be more powerful than God. This is a very famous statement. Prabhupada gives a very famous, this comes in the purport here. Prabhupada says, they say God is all powerful. And sir, if God is all powerful, then why you have forgotten you are God? Then they say we are in Maya. We were in Maya. Okay, you are in Maya and you are God. And if you are God and you are in Maya, then Maya captured you. Then how can God be all powerful? If you are God and you are captured by Maya. So Prabhupada says they contradict themselves. They are foolish. One side they say God is all powerful, another side they say God is um, overcome by Maya. So these are like Maya Paharita Jnana. Actually, many of their philosophies they contradict each other. Many people who come to ISKCON, they say we come because the philosophy is foolproof actually. Our nothing can refute actually. It's all angles covered, very pure, na? Bhagavad Gita as it is, very clear. But anytime we try to change something and give our own interpretation, we will fail here. Some words will not match some, and then we have to keep on giving so many interpretations to so many verses. And then these Mayavadis, then they have to reject some Puranas, like Bhagavad Purana, they reject because they cannot give an explanation. And some they give a, so it's so hard to maintain if the philosophy is not pure, na, because verses are there for everything. But if we kind of misinterpret, then so hard to just keep up with it. uh, but foolproof philosophy is like, Bhagavan is Brahman, Bhagavan is Paramatma, Bhagavan is Bhagavan. All contradictions, Achintya Bheda Ved, like the philosophy of that we have learned and that is taught by Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita is like nothing can penetrate. Anybody can say, yeah, this also fits in, this everything fits in. But for them, other concepts, they reject other concepts. They say God does not have a personal form. Then so many verses they cannot explain. So Prabhupada says, Prabhupada called them foolish, so-called Vidya. Okay. Then Karmis. So Karmis are worshippers of Avidya. Example of Avidya. So we discuss Vidya, Isavashyam, everything is own, controlled, energy of the Supreme Lord. Avidya, Karmis, sense gratification. Avidya, just they are living life out of ignorance. That's all. Born in ignorance. Om Agyan Timirandhasya. Born in ignorance. Agyan, Avidya, same. Timirandhasya, darkness. They are engaged in the activities of sense gratification. 99% of the people are engaged in these are common people. They are living in Avidya. They just their destination is they remain in material existence. 99% of the people are engaged in the activities of sense gratification under the flag of industrialism. Opening industries, we have to become economic developed, help open hospitals, all avidya, because they're not helping the soul. Na? It's all physical altruism, physical level, political activism, and so on. This is all most of the people here. Prabhupada says they are doing everything for sense gratification. Either Prabhupada says sense gratification can be selfish, can be extended. Extended sense gratification can be um, Hamara Bharat Mahan or this. These are all extended sense gratification. Then Bhagavad Gita 7:15, they are compared to asses, karmis or living in. Why? Because Prabhupada says a symbol of stupidity. Ass is a stupid animal. Why stupid? Because grass is everywhere and then he is working so hard for grass. So why the people who are karmis are stupid? Because they are working so hard and they get some like sense gratification. They are working so hard for sense gratification. Of course, not devotees who are working, because devotees are not working for sense gratification. They are working for Krishna. But those who are not devotees, they are working so hard only for sense gratification. And that sense gratification is a cause of misery, Krishna says. We were discussing recently, I think yesterday only. Yeah, uh, no, day before yesterday. We were discussing in Chaitanya Charitamrita, where it says Lord Krishna, when somebody goes and asks Lord Krishna for some material benefits, then Krishna says, Krishna thinks, I am ready to give him, I am ready to give him nectar of my lotus feet. I'm ready to give him pure devotion, but he's asking for some material benefits. So I'm ready to give him nectar, and he's asking for poison. Lord Krishna thinks if somebody approaches Krishna for material desire with material desires. Um, and Bhagavad Gita verse is also there. Na? Ehi samsparsha cha bhoga dukhaidana evate. When the sense object contact with the object of the senses, dukh, um, misery is produced. Um, so imagine who wants to work very hard to suffer. People are trying to avoid suffering, but somebody who is working very hard in the name of pleasure, and that pleasure itself become the cause of suffering. So that's why they are Lord Krishna compares them as asses, mudas, working so hard for nothing. So Prabhupada says the sign of stupidity. So these are like worshipper of avidya. Um, 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 I remember long time back, we went for book distribution home to home. One boy, we said, did Bhagavad Gita, come to temple. Then he said, no time to come to temple because he worked for a restaurant from 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. No holiday, 7 days a week. 6 a.m. to 11 p.m., 7 days a week. So, and then they get little bit here and there, and it's they are compared to mudas in this, because um, human life is there, na? Actually, um, service to Sri Guru, um, reading scriptures, hearing the Vani of Sri Guru, Srila Prabhupada. These are such divine um, processes, divine opportunities where there is um, real satisfaction for the soul is there. But still that time is going. This is like, but still the time which can be very blissfully used in rendering devotional service to Supreme Lord, to Sri Guru, um, develop relationship with them, is going for nothing actually. Working so hard, you know, devotees actually, devotees don't work very hard actually, but they are very satisfied. Lord Krishna says, Santushtam Satatam Yogi. A yogi is one who is always satisfied. Santushtam Satatam Yogi. Um, but we see in the material world people are working so hard. But we see how many problems. Everyone working so hard, um, they are trying to enjoy. But if you see, everyone has so much pain within their hearts. So everyone is living in so much anxiety. Everyone is like never satisfied, unlimited desires. And current desires are like unfulfilled, some are fulfilled in this pain and pleasure. And It's like running anxiety. This is what material world is offering. So people are giving all their time, all their energy, and all they get is anxiety and misery, rejections, problems. People disrespect them. You know, all they get is all those things. But devotees, you go to Vrindavan, devotees are very blissfully doing Dandavat Parikama to Govardhan, um, blissfully engaging in hearing and chanting. So there is like a life of Vidya and there is a life of Avidya. So that's why Prabhupada says these are mudas or foolish people or stupid people. So these are worshippers of Avidya. They are what they are doing. They are worshipping the illusory energy. They are worshipping the three modes. All the desires are instigated by the modes, and they hear what the modes want, and they are running. So they're actually worshipping the three. They're worshippers of Avidya. And what do they get at the end? They get repeated birth and death. They are working so hard, worshipping the modes of material nature to get death, to get disease, to get old age, and the next birth, and the next birth. And they take birth among 8.4 million species. So much misery actually to take birth in 8.4 million species. So they remain in the darkest of ignorance. Then so-called Vidya, those who play the role of helping this sort of civilization in the name of educational advancement are actually doing more harm than those who are on the platform of gross sense gratification. So there are some who are preaching that this is the right thing to do, or they are convinced and they are teaching people. Even among karmis, some are like making godless civilization. Many people are there now. Maybe some um, philosophers, um, some scientists. They're like um, they're like guiding the society in a way, um, and the result is they are making theories which promotes godless civilization. Last week we saw Prabhupada says, this is a god. People are trying to make a godless civilization, so they are doing more harm because they're propagating a godless civilization. Then those who don't know what is right, to tell them God is there. Oh, all right. But then there are those who are propagating these wrong philosophies. So they become so-called Vidya because they are damaging themselves and others. Their destination um, uh, is further down. It's like similar to it is said um, in a kingdom, if the citizens do some karmic activity, then the king gets 50% of the karma of all the citizens, whoever is doing wrong. But at the same time, if the king makes a spiritual country, something like that, then because he makes arrangement that everybody can practice Krishna consciousness, so half of their mercy of all the citizens goes to the king. It is similar to what Nityananda Prabhu says, na? Um, Dasturi laibo ami purna habe kam, something like that. Ki, I will preach the holy name and I will take a dasturi. So these people who are propagating avidya, they are engaging everybody in sinful activities. So their the reaction to them is lot more worse. And see, this is Isopanishad, and Isopanishad is propagating Vidya, so-called Vidya, is much more dangerous than Avidya. Uh, we know this, yeah. Anyway, it's a little bit different. Okay. The advancement of learning by a godless people is as dangerous as a valuable jewel on the hood of a cobra. So it is said a cobra with a jewel is more dangerous than a cobra without a jewel. So likewise, some is like simply gross sense gratifier, and some are those who are very learned and making theories and philosophies and professors and researchers and scientists, and they are propagating, and people are blindly following them, misguiding people. Many YouTube fames, of course, other than ISKCON devotees. So these are all they are carrying jewel, on themselves, which makes them even more dangerous. This is one example. Another example, Hari Bhakti Sudhodaya explains the advancement of education by a godless people is compared to decorations on a dead body. In America, if you have attended some funeral ceremonies, um, they the person who dies, they put a coat, pant, tie, suit, comb their hair, um, bring up, if possible, artificial smile on them. So they really prepare, and they charge a lot for that actually, to dress, because the person is burnt in the same new coat suit actually. So they are decorating a dead body. So what is the value of decorating a dead body? The person is dead, and you are decorating very nicely for last, so people can see. In India, I don't think it happens that much, but in UK also I heard. So advancement of education by a godless people. So godless people are like posing themselves as they are learned, um, educators, and what they are compared to decoration of dead body means they have no knowledge actually. They are just decorating sense gratification. They are propagating sense gratification. Anyways, is dead. Sense gratification. I mean, it's easy to speak. I am also very advanced in sense gratification. But just how Isopanishad says, the result of sense gratification is actually misery, rise to misery. Um, Today morning I was talking to Sham Kishore Prabhu. He was mentioning his Puri experience, and he met Haladar Maharaj there, and he stayed with a couple of days with some brahmacharis in brahmachari ashram Bhuvaneshwar, and then did Puri Parikrama with Haladar Maharaj. So he was mentioning, Prabhu, devotees were so simple, Indian brahmacharis. He said, I just felt like um, I first time saw what brahmachari really means by seeing those brahmacharis, just servitude, um, um, very simple. And he was mentioning Haladar Maharaj, very simple life, and they eat food in no oil or ghee, very simple sattvic bhojan they eat, very simple lifestyle, way of living, um, um, just enjoying with devotee association, Hari Katha, is engaged in seva, um, and very inspiring, he was mentioning. And Haladra Maharaj also very simple sannyasi, um, propagating the holy name, very simple eating, very simple living. So we see those devotees actually very blissful in a way. But those who are propagating gross sense gratification is like, it's anyways, that actually doesn't lead to, there may be, it said, poison, nectar in the beginning, poison in the end, happiness in mode of passion, enjoys very much and then leads to misery later on. And some people are propagating it. So that's like decorating dead. Anyways, it's dead. Living in Vidya, a life of a devotional life, simple, Prabhupada would say simple living, high thinking. Simple life of devotion is like so full of life, so inspiring. Um, yeah. So, okay. Then modern civilization. What is modern civilization? Is a patchwork of activities meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material existence. What is modern civilization? Whatever misery is there in material existence, they are trying to patch it up. They are not trying to find real solution. They are trying to patch up the problems in this world. Like we have old age is coming. So Prabhupada says they're not trying to find solution. Why do I have to become old? In spiritual world, nobody becomes old. And patch up what is medical civilization advancement. One of the biggest industries, anti-aging products. actually, how to stop wrinkles and those kind of things, anti-aging products. So this is like material advance and medical civilization. They're creating some patch. Other the person who is getting old is gonna die. You can stop wrinkle for how long you can stop wrinkle. The whole skin that you are spending billions of dollars on, this research, billions of dollars research on the skin is gonna be burned. So there's like patchwork. Material civilization is a patchwork of activities. For what? Meant to cover the perpetual miseries of material. What is the real misery? They are trying to cover it up. Then disease is there, then very five-star hospitals, newer and newer research. They are trying to painkillers. They are trying to do so much. Um, uh, yeah, but disease cannot be stopped. One disease is there is vaccine for one disease, another all of a sudden completely new disease which is like epidemic or uh, deadly is created, and these things are gonna continue. So material civilization is like trying to um, patchwork of material misery, but person in vidya he understands, okay, the misery, all the source of misery is because I am in this material body. I have all these desires, and I am engaged in a cycle of birth and death, and I am this birth, older disease, death. How do I realize my true spiritual relationship and um, awaken that uh, true life, which is pure devotion to Guru and Krishna? But above the senses is the mind, and above the mind is the intelligence, and above the intelligence is the soul. Thus, the aim of real education should be self realization, because soul is superior to intelligence and mind and everything else. Any education which does not lead to such realization must be considered avidya or nonsense. All these universities avidya. They may be like uh, bachelor's in this, master in this, PhD in this, postdoc in this, but this is all considered avidya because it's not connected to um, the science of the soul, or it's not connected to self-realization. Then everyone is worshipping avidya in a way. Everyone is running behind all these um, 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 jewels, but it's like, simply makes them more dangerous only. But anyways, we 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 are a part of the society, and whatever is needed, we do. I also did my education, um, but then now we make Krishna as the central piece and goal of our life. Then there is what is actual Vidya. We discussed about worshipper of avidya like karmi, sense gratification, and how their civilization godless, how they are trying to patch up the problem. The problem cannot be solved, and the real problem can be solved through self-realization. What is actual vidya? As stated in mantra 1, one should know that Krishna, the supreme personality of Godhead, is a proprietor of everything, and that we must be satisfied with our allotted portions of the necessities of life. Okay, whatever is around me, this is what Krishna has given me. Um, mm, um, so I can take care of this physical body and the needs. Whatever Krishna has allotted for me, I can use those, and live a life centered around Krishna. Everything belongs to Him. He has given me these things, whatever is allocated to me. The purpose of all Vedic literature is to awaken this God consciousness in the forgetful living being. And the same purpose is presented in various ways in the different scriptures of the word for the understanding of foolish mankind. Same purpose, God consciousness. Different scriptures, different ways, different teachers, God conscious teachers of the word to explain the foolish mankind, whether it's um, There is truth everywhere. There is truth even in Islamic, Christianity, or any other tradition. The truth is there, although it has been misrepresented many times over a period of time. Um, so Prabhupada says, for the understanding of foolish mankind, different scriptures around the world, same purpose is presented, is that we become God conscious being. Thus, the ultimate purpose of all religions, Prabhupada says, is to bring one back home, back to God. So this is like actual Vidya. Then there is Vedavadarata. Vedavadarata means they pose themselves again, similar to Maya Parita Jnana, or those who are worshipper of so-called Vidya, most dangerous kind of people. They pose themselves as very learned in Vedic literature. So many YouTube people, they also mention various Vedic stories, and they pose themselves as very learned in Vedic literature. But unfortunately, they are completely diverted from the purpose of the Veda, not directing people to um, awakening our dormant love for the Supreme Lord. Not at all interested in the personality of Godhead. On the contrary, they are fascinated by such fruitive results as the attainment of heavenly pleasure for sense gratification. They are propagating demigod worship here, Shiva worship करो, इनको worship करो, उनको worship करो, heaven में जाएंगे या निराकार बन जाएंगे. These are all Vedavad Rata. They pose themselves as very learned in Vedas, but their conclusion is not matching with Shastras. Such people misguide others by misinterpreting the Vedic literature. Sometimes they even condemn the Puranas, which are authentic Vedic explanation. Bhagavatam itself says the Puranas are the fifth Vedas. Four Veda, Rig, Yajur, Sam, Atharva. Fifth Veda is Puranas. But some of them they condemn. Like even Adi Shankaracharya, he rejected Bhagavad Puran. The Vedavada Ratas give their own explanation of the Vedas, neglecting authority of great acharyas. Vyasadeva himself has written commentary on Vedanta, and that is Srimad Bhagavatam. But others they give their own commentary on uh, Vedanta. Sariraka Bhasya, and these are all their own explanation of Vedas. Very good example is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Sarva Bhattacharya. Sarva Bhattacharya gave the commentary on Vedanta. Mahaprabhu says, Vedanta I understood, but what you explained is like cloud covering the sun. Like everything is covered. We don't know what rubbish you are speaking. But whatever Vyasadeva wrote is very clear to me. But what you spoke is like just doesn't make any sense. Na sar hai na pair hai. What are you doing? So Bhattacharya was like, oh, then you explain. And when Mahaprabhu explained, Sarva Bhattacharya was convinced. In the core of his heart, he convinced. And he accepted actually. In the core of my heart, whatever Adi Shankaracharya gave commentary, I could never be fully convinced with it, but I accepted it because I'm coming from that line. But what you spoke makes perfect sense. Then when he surrendered to the Lord, because he heard many times that this is Swayam Bhagavan, the Lord himself has descended to propagate bhakti in the age of Kali as Sri Krishna Chaitanya. So Samvatacharya, he had that in his mind, but he never accepted that. And after hearing the explanation of Lord Chaitanya, he was convinced and he surrendered. Then Mahaprabhu revealed his Chadbuj form, that you can see the deity of Chadbuj is there in the house of Samvatacharya in Jagannath Puri. If you go there, you can see. So these Vedavada Ratas give their own explanation of Vedas, neglecting authority of great acharyas. They don't have any disciplic succession. Adi Shankaracharya also no disciplic succession actually. He gave his own commentary and everyone is follower of Adi Shankaracharya. There is no disciplic line for them. But we see authorized disciplic line. And we see ours is like directly coming from Krishna now, through Brahma and through Narada and Vyasadeva and Madhavacharya and coming down. So they neglect the authority of acharyas, Vedavada Ratas. They give their own explanation of Vedas. They also tend to raise some unscrupulous persons from among themselves and present him as a leading exponent of Vedic knowledge. Um, then they have their own bogus explanation of the Shastras, and they make somebody else, he's the one learned it after me. Then the lineage is going on. The so-called students of the Vedas are condemned herein because they are ignorant of the actual purpose of the Vedas on account of their disobeying the acharyas. But their so-called student, what happens to them? All of their students, they go to hell. They are condemned. Isopanishad says those who are uh, uh, so-called in knowledge, they are condemned in Isopanishad. They are much worse than those who are simply engaged in sense gratification. And best is those who can follow the understanding coming from the line of acharyas. Such Vedavada Ratas search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. And they have a philosophy. They don't make the philosophy based on what Krishna says. They have a philosophy and they use the Shastra and every word of Shastra somehow or other tweak them to prove their philosophy. So these are Veda Vadarata. They search out meanings in every word of the Vedas to suit their own purposes. All these are worshippers of so-called Vidya. So these people are a lot more dangerous to the society than simple who says Prabhu हमें पता नहीं कुछ. We are atheist. We are, we just don't know anything. Uh, what is the right way? The right way is one must approach a bona fide spiritual master in order to understand the transcendental message of the Vedas. That is a direction of Mundak Upanishad. Tat Guru Vigyartha Sa Guru Eva Bigachet is um, now make humble inquiry to a bona fide spiritual master. Um, Learn from him. Uh, yeah, okay. So that was the ninth verse. And actually, I planned on doing 9 and 10, but I didn't get time to prepare the 10th one. So, are there any discussion on up till now on this? Okay, then maybe we can end. Thank you for joining. Vanchakalpatarubhesha kripa sindhube evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavadhanam. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. We can end.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.